I think we might get started. Thank you, everyone, for joining me this morning on the hump day of the week, your Wednesday. For those I haven't met, or for those I've met but maybe not for a little while, my name is Ella, and I am Program Coordinator, Awards and Other Projects here at the Tourism Industry Council SA. It's great to have you all join me this morning. So before we get started, I'd just like to acknowledge that I am hosting this webinar from Ghana country. I pay my respect to elders past and present and acknowledge the traditional custodians of the various lands where you all join us from today. At TICSA, we recognise the diversity of First Nations people and acknowledge their ongoing cultures and connections to the land and waters of South Australia. I would also like to acknowledge that we aim to make this space an inclusive environment. We would like to acknowledge the people in our community who have advocated for everyone's right to belong and bring attention to the ways we can do this. Accessibility and inclusion are important. Great. So I just want to double check, can you all hear me and see the PowerPoint presentation okay? Great. Fabulous. Awesome. Now, super excited to have you all here today. Just a few housekeeping notes, please. Just keep your mics on mute for the duration of the webinar. Feel free to use the chat function like you are doing so now, which is great. You're welcome to ask any questions in there throughout, which I'll try to address as we go, but there'll also be time for questions at the end where you'll be welcome to come off mute and ask some questions to the group. And also, just for your knowledge, this session is being recorded. Thank you to the many who are joining us watching the recording later on, and then this is a good reference point if you do choose to enter the awards this year for you to refer back to while you're writing your submission, which is always really handy. Right. So, what are we here to talk about today? We're going to cover the SA Tourism Awards for 2025. For those who don't know, we had the 2024 Qantas Australian Tourism Awards here last Friday, which was an absolute blast. It hasn't been hosted in Adelaide for just about 10 years, so it was great to have excellent tourism operators from across the nation join us at the Adelaide Convention Centre on Friday night. A big congratulations to our businesses on the screen, Seppeltsfield Barossa, who took out gold in tourism wineries, distilleries and breweries, and Old Coach Road Estate, who took out self-contained accommodation gold as well. And we also had operators walk away with 4 silver medals and 3 bronze medals as well. So a very successful night for South Australia. And a big congratulations also to all of the SA tourism operators who represented us on Friday. It's not an easy feat to get into the room at the Australian Tourism Awards. It takes a lot of hard work. So you should all be really incredibly proud of yourselves. And we certainly were proud of South Australia on Friday night. So today, we're going to talk through the program for 2025. For those who are not familiar with the program, or this might be your first interaction with it, I'm just going to talk through a bit of the benefits, the different categories we have, and also the submission requirements. For those who have entered before and those who are new to the program, you may have heard some rumblings that there's some key changes happening to submission requirements in 2025. Well, I'm here to give you the inside knowledge as to what is occurring. This is something that's happening across Australia, and it being implemented in all the states and territories across Australia. So it's really good today for you to get your head across what some of those changes are. And I will be your guide to walk you through what those changes look like and make sure you're comfortable with what you're required to do to enter the awards in 2025. So, South Australian Tourism Awards, it is a business excellence program. It forms part of the Quality Tourism Framework, which is managed by the Australian Tourism Industry Council. The Australian Tourism Awards has been running for 41 years now. This year, 2024 was the 40th anniversary of the awards, so we're now at 41 years of national tourism excellence. It's a brilliant program that not only allows you an opportunity to compete against your fellow businesses, but also a chance to take a step away from your business, look from the outside, and see what improvements can be made and what you have achieved over the qualifying period. It's really great for business development, looking from outside in, and taking a look at your processes, your improvements, what you've done, and also to get an outside perspective from a judging panel to receive some feedback on your current activities. Many businesses go through this program across many, many years, and we often see growth from those businesses, not only from achieving awards at the gala dinner, but also through their business and how they grow. And it's always a really fascinating process. So business excellence and business development as well. So for South Australia last year, we awarded 66 gold, silver, and bronze medals in 2024. And for the South Australian Tourism Awards, there are 26 business categories to choose from. There are also 2 individual categories, which is our Outstanding Contribution category and our Young Achiever category as well. I love this quote from Joel Hirsch at Spirit of the Coorong. Spirit of the Coorong were one of our silver medalists, as well as their sister business, Big Duck Boat Tours, from Friday night. But this testimonial it's a real testament to what the awards are all about. Ensuring that you look at every aspect of your business and operations and look to improve everything, and striving to be the best you can be. So I just wanted to highlight that there, because I think it's something to think about as you plan to enter these awards, is what would you like to achieve? And for a lot of businesses, it will be going for gold, but for other businesses, it might be seeking some external feedback, or just giving a long submission a hard crack. Perfect. So benefits of entering, I think I've already talked through some of it a little bit, but opportunity to review and reflect on your business over the past 12 months. You can identify opportunities for you to improve, and the judges will help you do that as well. You can celebrate everything you've achieved. If you've had a really good 12 months and you'd like to enter the Tourism Awards, it's a great way to celebrate by having a crack at winning a medal at the SA Tourism Awards. Receiving expert advice and feedback from the judges, really, really valuable. The judges are all volunteer and come from across the industry with a breadth of knowledge and experience. So highly encourage you to make the most of that opportunity to get feedback. I think it's one of my favorite parts of the program is the opportunity to hear from the judges and get an outside perspective. Network with the very best of our industry. So at the conclusion of the Tourism Awards, if you become a finalist, you'll get to attend the SA Tourism Awards Gala Dinner, which is usually held in early November each year. I really encourage you to, if you do get to that point, come along to the gala dinner and have some fun. Bring your team if you can. It's a great opportunity to celebrate all of your success from the past 12 months, celebrate the fact that you completed a submission, and also to network with your industry colleagues, key stakeholders, government. It's a great opportunity to network and get to meet some new people as well. And also enjoy the ongoing marketing benefits. So if you become a finalist, or if you win a medal or gold in the Tourism Awards, we do provide some marketing collateral that you can use to promote when you are talking about your business to your consumers. So highly encourage, even if you just make it to that finalist status, that is an incredibly valuable piece of promotion for you. So this is a great way to enjoy some ongoing marketing benefits through participating in this program. Lovely. So I just want to briefly touch on the qualifying period. So for those who are not familiar with the Tourism Awards, the qualifying period is what you will write your submission to, and it's what you are judged upon. So the qualifying period is the financial year we're currently in, the 1st of July 2024 to the 30th of June 2025. So everything that you put in your written submission and all the images that you supply and bits and pieces like that, they must be from the qualifying period listed there. You are welcome to include things in your submission that compare to previous years. For example, comparing visitor stats and data from previous years is really valuable, but your focus should be on activities and events that have happened within your business during that qualifying period. So I just want to reiterate there. If you have any confusion around the qualifying period, you're always welcome to reach out for clarification. But that's something to keep in mind from the very beginning, is that that is the period that you are being judged on. Now, for those who attended my Preparing for Tourism Awards Success webinar last year, I'm a big fan of this slide, but really want you to have a think about over the next month before nominations open, and before you get too deep in writing a submission. Have a think about what success means to your business. It might mean your first year, it might mean just giving it a go, seeing how you go, practicing writing the submission and seeing if you can make finalist status. For others, it might be that bronze, silver, or gold win that you've been looking for in the past few years. But I feel like if you can think about what success means to you and your business this year, it will set you up for success. And it will determine how much time and resources you put into the submission. And also set your expectations as well. Set realistic expectations for what you can achieve, whether it's your first year or you're 5 years into entering the tourism awards. Lovely. So on to categories. So there are 26 business categories available to choose from. Some of them will be applicable to your business, not all of them will be applicable. They range from things like tourist attractions, festivals and events, tour and transport operators, restaurants, wineries, caravan parks, and more. There are many niche categories in here as well, including ecotourism, cultural tourism, visitor information services, new tourism business, and a few others as well. So strongly encourage you, the category descriptions for 2025 will be live hopefully in the coming weeks. It's just in the process of being finalized at a national level. I highly encourage you to take some time to look at the different categories that you think are applicable to you, and have a read through and make sure that you choose the category that best suits you. Highly encourage you to get in contact with me if you are unsure as to which category you should enter, to discuss what the best category might be for you. You are welcome to enter more than one category. It does mean more work because you do have to write different submissions for each of those categories, but you are welcome to enter more than one category if there is multiple categories that are applicable to your business. But yes, I will be sharing those category descriptions in due course. The ones from 2024 are up there that describe what those categories are about. So you are welcome to go have a look at the categories. The question sets have just changed in 2025. So just be conscious that the questions are not correct, but you can look at the category descriptions as those have not changed, and the eligibility requirements there. So just make sure you go have a look at those, and start having a think about what category you'd like to enter. The question sets are not the same for each category. So for some of our niche categories, for example, if you take ecotourism, the question sets are more centered around ecotourism rather than overarching business questions. Same with questions like festivals and events as well. So just keep that in mind. Also keep that in mind if you're planning on entering multiple categories. But as I said before, please reach out if you are hesitant as to what category you should enter. I'm here to support you and help you out and guide you in the right direction when it comes to that. So please feel free to reach out. All right, now we get into the nitty-gritty. So as I said before, there are exciting changes coming in 2025. The primary changes are occurring with the written submission, but there have been some changes across the board. So I will talk through these with you now. For those who are new to the program, it's not as much of a concern for you because this is the first time you're seeing it. But for those who have entered before, this is something new that you will have to wrap your head around. It might take a little bit of time, so be patient with yourself. But just make sure that you are constantly referring back to the category criteria and question sets, just to make sure that you're not falling back into the previous program requirements and that you are meeting the new program requirements. So, starting at the beginning, we have our written submission. So our written submission used to be 10,000 words. The written submission has now gone down to anywhere between 4,000 to 7,500 words. So for your written submission, you have to meet a minimum of 4,500 words and a max of 7,500 words. So that is a 25% reduction in word count, which I'm sure will come with mixed feelings. Some businesses will be very happy that it's not as many words to write, but for others who enjoy writing a lot about their business, a 25% reduction might be a bit daunting as well. So please take your time to wrap your head around that. To support you in that word count reduction, what has occurred is the question set has been revised and simplified. The questions are not as open-ended, and the response guide is formatted in a way to support you in writing your response. So there's more question prompts, there's tables to fill in, performers to follow. So hopefully what that will do is it will help guide you in the right direction to write a more concise answer to help you stay within that 7,500 word count. As I mentioned, the question sets will be live in the coming weeks, and as soon as they are live, I will let you know. But if you have any questions about the new question sets or the word count, please reach out. Take your time to read through it in detail, because for entrants that have entered before, it's different to last year. It follows a similar path, but the questions are different. So please be prepared to modify your previous answers. Please take the time to make sure that anything that you've got templated or existing already, you modify to meet the questions. But that's the written submission. I'll go into more detail about that in a moment. Next will be your supporting images. So your supporting image number has actually increased to 30 rather than 25. So your supporting images for new entrants are included throughout your submission. You have a total of 30 max that you can include. And basically, we encourage you to pepper these throughout your submission. They should complement what you have written in your written submission. And there will be opportunities to upload images according to the different questions. So I will go into more detail about that in a second as well. Consumer rating. So, and as you can see, the weighting of the submission has slightly changed. So the written submission is worth 60%, the consumer rating is worth 20%, and the digital review is worth 20%. These weightings do change depending on the category, but for standard business categories, it's 60, 20, 20. So the consumer rating is where, for businesses that are unfamiliar, is where we pull all of your reviews from across the web. You'll be required to provide some links, and we will form what is called a GRI, which is a Global Review Index score. And that's a score out of 100, and that is your consumer rating score. So your satisfaction score based on the reviews that you have received during the qualifying period. I'll go into more detail as to what's required for that in a sec as well. Digital review. So a digital review is where the judges will take some time following an expanded criteria set this year to review your online and digital presence. And I will go through what's included in that momentarily. And then we've got your site visit as well, which is only required for certain businesses, and I'll go through who that's required for in a second. But that is an overarching view of the submission requirements, and I'll go into detail in a sec, but this gives you a good idea as to what has changed for previous entrants, and then for new entrants, this tells you what the full requirements are in a nutshell. Right. So written submission, as I mentioned, 4,000 to 7,500 words. 4,000 words for excellence in accessible tourism. The 5 sections will include, very similar to last time, it will include that overview of the business and product development, marketing, customer service, sustainable and responsible business. That's just an overarching view of what the questions will cover. As I mentioned, the question set is to come. Yeah, final criteria will be available on the TIC-SA website late March, but it still follows a similar flow for those who have entered previously and for those who are new. Basically, we're looking a bit at the journey of your business. So we'll start with an introduction to your business, a bit about your product development, go into the marketing space, the customer service space, and then also into the sustainable and responsible tourism space as well. So that's the sections in a nutshell. Again, I will reiterate, this is subject to the specific category. So for standard business categories, this will be the case, but for our niche categories like ecotourism or visitor information services, etc., the category question set will be slightly different. So please, again, just keep that in mind. I'll keep reiterating that. And then supported by 30 images. So the idea with your written submission is you want to tell your business's story. I encourage you to include as much data as possible, and make sure that the images that you choose support what you have included in the written content. So there's an opportunity, there will be an entrance guide that comes out for those who nominate that guides you through the different questions and the criteria for images and how to go about telling your story whilst answering the questions at the same time. There will be a comprehensive entrance guide to come out. So please keep an eye out for that. I will circulate that as soon as it's available. Now, standards. So this is something I just wanted to talk through briefly. This is applicable to businesses if you're not accredited. Many of you, I think, in the call are accredited, but there will be some of you who aren't accredited. So please keep in mind that as part of the Tourism Award submission, you'll have to do the written submission, but you'll also have to complete what we call business standards, which is basically an application that goes through your various business operations. It goes through things like insurance, your marketing, customer service policies, risk management, HR, and responsible tourism as well. And that just gives us a really good idea that you have your basic standard operating necessities in place. And this is actually a pathway into the Quality Tourism Accreditation Program as well. For our niche categories listed there, there's some extra standards that you have to complete. So for example, tourism, there's eco standards. Visitor information service, there's visitor information standards. Accommodation categories, with the exception of category 19, which is unique accommodation. There are accommodation standards for you to complete there. And then there's also accessible standards for the excellence in accessible tourism category. So something I'd encourage you to think about is if you are not accredited already, you still have a few months as part of the qualifying period. I would encourage you to look at becoming accredited. It is a great process to go through from a business development point of view. You'll be recognised as a quality and sustainable tourism accredited business at the conclusion of it. So if you would like more information, please feel free to contact me, or you're welcome to contact Rebecca Uphill, who manages our accreditation program as well. And Jodie, great question. Just to answer that, accommodation standards is the star rating system. So what we would require you to do is go through the pre-assessment that happens when a property normally gets star rated, so that we can obtain a star rating and also make sure that your property is up to standard. and make sure that you're in the right category. This is particularly important for the 3 to 3.5, the 4 to 4.5, and the 5-star categories, because that's based on a rating. So completing the accommodation standards will help us determine what category you can enter in. Perfect. Consumer rating. So as I mentioned before, consumer rating is worth 20% of your score, subject to the category that you're entering in. So the consumer rating is derived from the GRI, which is the average score of all your online reviews, and that's provided by a system called ReviewPro. So ReviewPro is a reputation management system that is often used by accommodation properties, particularly large properties and hotels, but it's incredibly valuable to any tourism business in general. What it will do is collate all of your reviews from places like Google, TripAdvisor, Booking.com, and pull them all together into one score. So you will be required to provide some links, which we will provide some further instructions down the track once you've nominated. This is really important. For the qualifying period, you need to have a minimum of 25 reviews. So from the 1st of July 2024 to the 30th of June 2025, you must have received a minimum number of 25 reviews across all of your review sites. If you don't have 25 reviews for the qualifying period, your GRI will come out as a score of 0, and then that will be added to your total score. So that's not something that we want to happen to you. And the qualifying period has not concluded yet. There's still 3 months left. So really encourage you to take some time over the next few weeks to look online and see if you meet that minimum number of 25 reviews. And if you don't, there's still time to get that review number up, which is really important. Thanks, Sue. Great question. GRI does not count from festivals and events, and there are some other categories where it's not applicable. What I'd encourage you to do, just to double check if it's applicable, is to refer to the category question set when it's ready. But there are niche categories where the GRI and the consumer rating is not applicable, and festivals and events is one of them. But please do double check. And for accredited members as well, you actually do have access to a free ReviewPro account. This ReviewPro account is a very valuable asset. It's valued at $1,000 for a subscription, and you have access to it for free if you are accredited. So really encourage you to, if you don't already, activate a free ReviewPro account today. Either contact myself or contact Rebecca. And if you do have a ReviewPro account, log into it and set it for the qualifying period and see if you meet the minimum number of 25 reviews and if you're producing a GRI. If you run into any trouble there or you're not exactly sure how to find that out, please reach out and we can guide you through that step by step. All right, for the digital review, as I mentioned before, the criteria has been expanded and the digital review is now worth 20%. And again, subject to the specific category criteria. So please make sure that you look at your category and see how much it is worth. So for the digital review, we will have a panel of judges who will look at your website, your social media channels, your search engine optimization, which for those who are unfamiliar, that's how you appear on Google. External listing sources, so that's referring to things like review sites. It's referring to southaustralia.com, where your ATDW listing is, and bits and pieces like that. And also your engagement in the online review space. So they will take some time to look at your reviews online and see if you are responding regularly and addressing issues or responding to positive feedback or negative feedback accordingly. So those are the key things that they will be looking at, and they will be looking at various elements such as, you know, the cleanliness of your website, the information it provides. Do you have a book now button? Are you posting regularly on social media and bits and pieces like that? So the criteria for that digital review is being finalized at the moment. So you will be able to see that in due course. But what I would do in the meantime is take some time to make sure that you're digital assets, so your website, social media, your ATDW, all that kind of stuff is up to date wherever possible, and that it's clean and there's not too many glitches happening, and just keep an eye on it over the next few months, because generally that will be looked at over the July, August, September period. So keep that in mind. And once we've got the criteria, you can have a look at how you shape up next to that. Great. Site visit. So site visits are required, not for everyone. They are only required if you are a first-time entrant. So if this is your first time entering this year, you will be required a site visit. If you are not quality and sustainable tourism accredited, so if you haven't achieved accreditation, you will require a site visit. And if you are quality and sustainable tourism accredited, but you're due for a site visit this year, you will receive a site visit as part of the awards and part of your accreditation. If you are unsure if you require a site visit, please reach out directly and we will be able to confirm. We'll also confirm at a later date when we're arranging for an awards judge to come and visit you. But the purpose of a site visit, it isn't scored, but the purpose is for an awards judge to come out to your property or your business, and have a look what you do in real time. For festivals and events, this is a little bit different. Just make sure you look at the category criteria for that. But it's a really good opportunity to showcase your product to a tourism awards judge, and they then get to see your product firsthand rather than on paper. Jody, sorry, I just saw your question, Jody. Additional information on exactly what is included in SEO. SEO is so huge, I was wondering if there is a particular focus. I will be able to answer that question in more detail once the final criteria is ready to see what exactly they're looking at. But what they're predominantly looking at is they're not going into the back of your website or anything like that to look at the keywords that you've used or anything like that. What they'll be looking for is based on how you appear on Google, so how you appear on the pages, whether you appear on the first page, the second page, and they'll be looking at that for your website, but they'll also be looking at that for other external listings as well. But I'll be able to give you some more detail once the criteria is finalized as to exactly what they look for. That way you can see if there's any way you can enhance that in advance of being judged. Great. Perfect. So how to enter? Expressions of interest are obviously open. If you haven't already, please add yourself to the EOI list. I'll circulate that after this webinar along with the recording of the webinar, just to make sure that you stay up to date with all the latest information when the final category criteria and question sets get released. Nominations are opening on Thursday, the 1st of May, and nominations will close on Monday, 16th of June. So take some time to think about whether or not you're going to put in a nomination this year. You've got from the 1st of May to the 16th of June to make a decision. Once you have nominated in the portal, the Quality Tourism Framework portal, the link is just there. There'll be some instructions passed out on how to nominate closer to the date. But once you have nominated and paid your nomination fee, you will be able to access your submission via the portal, and from there you can start completing your submission in the portal. We recommend probably completing your submission in a Word document and then looking at putting some of it in the portal, but you can work in the portal live and it will save as you go, but feel free to press the save button as you go as well, just for reassurance. But then submissions will be due on Tuesday, the 12th of August. Currently, there will be a draft submission deadline for 2025, so I believe that is in about mid-July. I will circulate that exact date in this webinar, in my follow-up email after this webinar. But basically, for those who are unfamiliar, you do have an opportunity to submit a draft for review. Keep in mind, this is a complete draft, not a partial draft or 1 or 2 questions. It's a complete draft. And there'll be an opportunity to submit that in the QTF portal for review. And that will occur roughly in mid-July, with feedback to be given within 2 weeks, allowing you time to make any necessary changes before the submissions are due on the 12th of August. From there, judging takes place during September, and finalists are generally announced late September. And then we have the gala dinner in early November, which is a lot of fun. Encourage you to come and bring your team along if you can. It's a really good opportunity to network and celebrate your submission. So as I mentioned, nominations and submissions are submitted online via the Quality Tourism Framework portal. We will provide instructions, and I am here to help you troubleshoot any technical issues you may or may not have while nominating or attempting to submit your submission. So please don't feel like you're on your own. If technology is not going your way, please take the time to reach out to us, and we can then address the issue from there. Great. So what to do now? Pencil those key dates in your calendar. I will circulate this recording and also the slides as well for you to look at post-webinar. Join as a TICSA member. I believe most of the people in this call are already TICSA members, but for anyone who is listening to the recording, please consider joining as a TICSA member. It's not something that you have to do. You can participate in the awards without being a member, but being a member gets you access to some handy discounts, including discounts on the nomination fee to nominate for the awards, and also discounts for the gala dinner. So it can come in handy, so something to keep in mind. For any non-accredited businesses, please consider if accreditation is something you want to explore before starting the awards. If you don't have accreditation, you will have to complete the business standards. So it might be something handy to get out of the way. And accreditation has its own separate benefits, including ongoing marketing benefits, a business development process, and an opportunity to review your policies and procedures and make sure that you are hitting all the right areas in terms of your standard operating procedures and key areas like risk, HR, insurance, marketing, etc. Accredited members register for Review Pro. It's free for you to use, so encourage you to consider registering for an account over the next few weeks so that you can get across what your consumer rating looks like. Keep an eye out for criteria on the TICSA website. As I mentioned, I will circulate this and notify you all when it is live on the website. It's just in the process at the moment of being finalized, but as soon as it's live, I will share it with you, and really take the time to read through the key requirements for the category that you are looking to enter, and make sure that the category that you're choosing is the right category for you. As I said previously, you're welcome to reach out to me if you have any questions or want some clarification. Start curating some images. Some of you might have a very extensive image library. Others might have some images that just need a bit of a refresh, or you just need to collate some images for the purpose of the submission. So start curating some images together, something to save you time down the track when you're worrying about the written submission, or organize for photos to be taken as well. Start collecting data. So data is really important. I mentioned it earlier in this written submission. Data can be anything from what you have internally, from what you've collected from visitors and consumers, also to data that's available through the South Australian Tourism Commission, through your regional tourism organisation, through Tourism Australia, Tourism Research Australia. There are lots of sources of data. So really encourage you to start collecting the internal data that you have from the qualifying period, and save that away somewhere safe, and start looking at some other data that you can use from secondary sources as well. If you have any questions around data and what is valuable to include, what's not, please feel free to reach out. Make sure that you've collected 25 plus reviews during the qualifying period. Take some time to look at the different review sites that you have and see how many reviews you have between 1st of July 2024 to 30th of June 2025. You've still got some time left, so highly encourage you to look at that while there's still time to boost the number of reviews that you have, and start encouraging your consumers to leave as many reviews as possible. do a self-assessment of your digital presence. This will help a little bit more when we have the criteria, which I will circulate when that is available. But take some time to do a self-assessment. Have a look at your website, your social media, your ATDW. Make sure things are up to date. Make sure you're posting regularly and bits and pieces like that. And past entrants, please access the judges' feedback. For those who were at Nationals last Friday as well, the national feedback is available too, so please access that. And for all South Australian entrants from last year, your feedback is also available via the Quality Tourism Framework portal. Really encourage you to go in there and have a look at the feedback before you start writing your submission, because it will give you a really good idea as to what the judges felt was missing from your submission last year and what they'd like to see in the future. And it will stop you from making similar mistakes or misjudgments that you may have made last year in a submission, and it's a chance to improve on what you did last year. So strongly encourage you to access what was previously there. If you have any trouble accessing it, please contact me. Right, well, that was a lot of information at once, and obviously had to go through it in quite an overarching way, but I hope this session has been valuable to help you guys get across, if you're a first-time entrant, what the Tourism Awards is all about and what's included, and for those who have entered before, what the key changes are and what you should start preparing for. But obviously, I've been answering some questions as they've come up in the chat, but are there any other questions that I can answer now? You're welcome to come off mute if you'd like as well. Okay. I don't think, oh, here we go. Love more information on the data sources. Yeah, absolutely. And just so you know, for our nominees, we will be offering entrance support throughout the course of May, June, and July, and data will be a key part of that. But Jody, perhaps we can take this conversation offline as well, and I can have a bit of a chat to you about some data sources, but I'll pop some stuff in the follow-up email as well, just so you guys have a good idea as to what data sources you can look at and what kind of data you can include in your submission too. That would be valuable. Absolutely can include that. Any other questions? Great question, Andrea. Yes, you're welcome to use some pictures from Feb 2024. The dates of the pictures aren't necessarily looked at. The images, it's just important that you can use images from the past couple of years, but it's just important that it relates to what you're talking about in the submission. And images can include anything from what you have that is taken in real time and photos of your property and product, but it can also be images that you've crafted that includes testimonials, or mind maps or graphs, anything like that. There'll be a bit more information about that when the entrance guide is ready. But I really encourage you to make sure that any images that you use, you've only got 30 available. Any images that you use have to relate to what you are talking about in your written submission. So really encourage you to think about that. So my advice for the time being would be to collect as many images as you can. That way you don't have to go looking for them at a later date. And then when you get to writing your submission, you can say, oh, I've got that image that works perfectly with this sentence or data point that I've just included. So that's my advice there, but perfect. And thanks, Rinda. Where you can access it, so it will be live in the Quality Tourism Framework portal now. So when you log in, there'll be your state tourism feedback, but there's also your national feedback now included in that for IBIS. So if you have any issues accessing that, please contact me directly and I can talk you through how to access it or even potentially pull it for you. Great. Lovely. Any other remaining questions? Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining me this morning. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy week as we head into the end of March and beginning of April to Easter and school holidays. Greatly appreciate you taking the time to learn a bit more about the program and also to learn about the changes that are coming for this year. My contact details are on the screen. I highly encourage you to reach out to me, even if it's just to have a friendly chat and talk through what you're going to do as part of this year's Tourism Awards, or if you have a couple of questions from today that you want some more clarification on, please feel free to flick me an email or give me a call. I'm here to support you wherever you need it. But after this call, I will circulate an email with some of the points and some follow-ups to some of the questions that were asked today, and the remaining criteria and other things that I mentioned will be circulated in due course. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining me today. Have a great rest of your day. It's sunny currently in the CBD, so I hope it's sunny where you all are, but enjoy the rest of your day and look forward to chatting to many of you soon. Thanks, Alex. I'll send the recording shortly this afternoon. Thanks, everyone.